And despite Captain America's mixed reviews, let's go into some gaming news now and see what kind of reviews some of the games that have come out have gone as we welcome Josh back. Hello, Josh.
Hello, it's been a while.
It has.
Yeah, so we got the January, February roundup, but it does feel like it's been a long time since the last episode. I think it's because games were a bit slow in general, so there wasn't much to talk about last month. But we're starting to ramp up a little bit now, which is quite nice. We got some scores coming in that we discussed briefly from last month, and I've added in a couple as well. Dynasty Warriors Origins scored a 79. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth's PC port, as expected, done really well, 89. I mean, I was all expecting that realistically. Sniper Elite Resistance, one I was tempted to check out. It's got a 75, which sounds pretty reasonable. I don't think the Sniper Elite games have ever exactly broke high 80s, 90s or anything, so we weren't expecting anything crazy. A big one that I've seen a lot about on X this week, Spider-Man 2's PC port. Although sitting on the original on PS5 is sitting at a 90, 77 on the Steam PC port at the minute, which I don't know if either of you two seen. There's been a lot of technical issues and bugs.
It was a shit show of a launch, let's be honest.
That's probably the best way to put it. So yeah, measly 77.
is probably generous with how bad this launch seems to have been.
So Horry, I'd hold out on that.
I wasn't rushing, don't worry.
Another surprising one that we thought was going to score higher, Civ 7. Civ 6 is sitting on an 88, Civ 7 an 80, which again isn't a bad score, just not as good as the previous title.
I mean, I kind of expected it's for Civ 6. I don't know if will that score have updated as DLC and stuff come out.
Yes.
So
I think so anyway.
Yeah. I don't know what Civ 6 probably got on launch day, but it wouldn't surprise me if it was similar.
Okay, fair enough. And then 2 that at the time of recording came out yesterday, so they haven't got official proper Metacritic scores yet. We got Lost Records, Rage and Bloom, Tape 1, and Avowed. Both, I believe, are on Game Pass. I know Avowed is, and Lost Records is on PS Plus, so I can only assume it'll be on Game Pass potentially as well.
It's also going to be on Game Pass.
I know Tape 2 comes out in April. I think Avowed on OpenCritic is currently sitting at an 81 or 82, I think we said. I've not checked the scores for Lost Records, but I'm hoping 80s. I think that would be a great game. Yet to release, so finally things are starting to ramp up a little bit. In January, obviously, apart from there was a few ports in there and a couple of games, a lot of them games came out in February, actually, just within the last couple of weeks. But with March, April, it's starting to pick up a bit now. We got Like a Dragon, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii, 21st of Feb. One that Horry will be hoping does well, as he's got that in his Fantasy Critic. The sports fans are going to be feasting. We got PGA Tour coming out on the 21st of Feb with WWE 2K25 and MLB The Show 25 on the 14th of March. So lots of sports games coming out. Sonic Racing Cross Worlds, which we saw at the Sony State of Play the other day, 21st of Feb, I believe, this Friday again. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Big one. I can't remember who's got this in the Fantasy Critic. It's going to score numbers. Monster Hunter Wilds is finally coming out after about 30,000 presentations. Friday, the 28th of Feb. Split Fiction, one that I know we're all looking forward to. Con very much so, because he's got this one in his Fantasy Critic. 6th of March, I will be there. And to reminder to anyone who wants to play this with their friend, only one of you needs to own the game, same as It Takes Two. So if one person buys it, you can split the price, which is always nice. Cool, a little rhyme there, like that. Rise of the Ronin is getting a PC port on my birthday, the 11th of March.
Strange plug.
I wouldn't get too excited about this because I don't think it scored very well anyway on
Don't worry, I'm not excited for your birthday, mate.
Oh yeah, I mean, fair enough. And then there was a couple of games I cut off because we'll discuss in next month's episode. We've got Assassin's Creed Shadows next month, which I'm very much looking forward to.
Get delayed again.
I'm very confident from all the stuff that they've been showing us recently. Announcement, news, and updates. One, I believe, broke yesterday, and we discussed amongst us in the Discord, and I'll leave you two to discuss this in a second. Marvel Rivals directors and the Seattle design team have been laid off. What are your thoughts on this one?
I mean,
I think companies are being allowed to get away with firing people a little bit too happily. And like I say this as someone who lives in the UK, and we, although it doesn't feel like it sometimes, we have some of the best labour laws in the world for protecting employees. And it's just insane to me that a game studio, a film studio, anything that produces like something they work on for a few years, then they release it and they have to wait for a reception. Any company that operates that way should never be allowed to release such a successful product and immediately fire people. And I get like the company is primarily based in China. There just seems to be shuttering their offices that aren't in China and bringing that stuff back to China. But in another way, that pisses me off a little bit more because people are losing their job, not because, oh, the company's losing money, we can't afford to keep you. It's just, oh, we actually just want everyone in the same building.
unfortunately for these devs, this was out of their control, I think, unfortunately. Although it's not been said directly, I think if you're smart about this is unfortunately due to the tariff system that the US is putting in and how difficult they are making it for businesses that are like NetEase, based primarily in China, or work with what seems like they have studios all globally. So I presume they have teams in Europe as well. I've probably been told internally, pull your business out of the US. And
I also,
unfortunately, that means although the game launched as a wide success, like these devs have got caught in the crossfire of political moves, unfortunately.
think, and I might be slightly off here, so if anyone knows for sure, please do correct me. As part of the TikTok ban that's now been delayed, but technically the law still exists, Marvel's Snap went down at the same time.
Yeah.
Because the wording of the TikTok ban didn't just ban TikTok, it banned companies that have a certain like ownership stake in China. So I think there might be an element of NetEase were worried that
they'd be forced to.
that TikTok ban law might have weird effects on them.
Possibly.
That might make work difficult. Don't get me wrong, it sucks that people have lost their job, even if the reasons are as simple as just like the company wants to bring it all back in-house to China. It's absolutely fine. But it's just insane we live in a world where a game can have arguably the best launch of a live service game in, 5 years?
You'd put it up there with Helldivers, I think.
Yeah. And they still lose their job. It feels like it's a lose-lose situation for game devs all around the world at the minute. And it just fucking sucks that this game is making so much money, doing so well in like the popularity contest of who's playing what, and these devs still don't get job security.
Yeah, it's one of those unfortunate situations, I think, because of the way politics has gone in the last 4 months or whatever, that probably this was never planned to happen, but shifting climates has forced their hand, and yeah, it's tough. Hopefully the devs land on their feet.
Yeah. Absolutely. I've already seen some Riot people say we're currently hiring, so
yeah, and I think CD Projekt Red's put out a bunch of jobs in the last week.
So, I mean, hopefully, like I say, they'll land on their feet. It sucks so much. It feels like for 3 years straight now, all we've seen is mass layoffs in the gaming industry, and it sucks so much.
There was more negative news, and the console war enjoyers will enjoy this one. Con, you specifically, as the Xbox fan of this group. PS Plus was down for a multi-hour service outage last week or the week before, I believe.
Like nearly 24 hours, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Multi-hours played it down. I think it clocked in at 28 hours when no one could get on. And it was like another 10 after that before everyone was back on. Yeah, so some people experienced 38 hours of downtime, which is diabolical. How much is PlayStation cheapest version for a year?
Too much, like 70, 80 quid probably.
And
Yeah.
they can just like go, yeah, you can't use your. And this is the problem. And like this is a whole like gaming as an industry thing, right? Because of DRM in games now, even single player games were being affected, and people
You
couldn't
still
play their
couldn't play
game.
them. This is why all the
And
disc
that should
supremacy people
never
like myself
happen.
were rising up.
Yeah. But like no, but even some games on discs were being fucked over by it. And this should never ever happen. If some and like this is the thing, like for a long time I was with you, I was like, buy discs because you own it, they can't take it away from you. But that isn't actually even the case anymore. If you own a disc, all games on PlayStation and Xbox, as far as I know, have DRM on the game disc. If they can't reach a server to confirm that the key is valid, it will not boot. So it still has DRM, which means they can still, in theory, take the game away from you.
I think
Really
some
do.
have it disabled that are just single, but there are some that need to do it once, but then that'll be it. It's
But it's a
yeah,
problem.
not a
People
problem on
spend how
Steam.
much on their PlayStation? Some Steam games have DRM.
Yeah, but most of them don't.
Yeah, and like Steam don't suffer mass outages, but that was insanity. And do you know what the crazy thing was? I famously don't use my PlayStation enough. We've discussed this.
This is
I
the one time you wanted
literally,
to.
I got home on the day that it all went to shit. So I actually fancy playing a bit of Spider-Man 2 today. Hopped on Twitter, saw it was out. I was like, I'm not even gonna bother booting the fucking thing up. Back to whatever I was gonna do.
Oh, it's fine. You could have just booted the PC port up.
It's all right, guys, because if you got PS Plus already, then we're going to receive 5 days of free service.
Oh, what's compensation? Wow.
So what I'd advise anyone to do is get PS Plus. If your thing was about to run out, when the free thing hits, collect your free monthly games, and then if it runs out, it runs out. You got free games. I believe this month it's High on Life, Top Spin, and something else. So some free
High on
games
Life's
there
good.
for you to enjoy.
I'll get High on Life on another platform just to forget to play it.
Yeah, it is also on Xbox Game Pass.
That's where I play.
A funny one, which was a big talking point of last month's episode. We went into detail about the Switch 2 when we
Yeah.
thought it was coming out. We gave thoughts. Hori trademarked a new name, and then
Mac.
literally the morning after, we had a we had a presentation in which Nintendo sort of showed us a little animation of what the console is going to look like, and then said, "You're not actually having any information. You've got to wait until the 2nd of April." But we finally saw it the day after. If it happened on the day of our last episode, it would have been perfect. So we got the magnetic Joy-Cons, which we discussed as per Hori's name. The Switch Mag, which I still preferred than the Switch 2.
Yeah. I was
Well,
very disappointed in them for just doing a 2. It's very un-Nintendo of them.
Yeah, but here we are.
And then we got the bigger console itself, all black, no coloured Joy-Cons from what we can see. I think there's some colouring on the inside of the Joy-Cons where the mag is. So I suppose on the 2nd, we're going to see hopefully some UI, what the UI looks like, because the current one's not great. It's basically the Wii, and it's terrible.
Yeah, and some spec details.
Some specs, some games, maybe. Are we going to get a Mario Kart / 3D platformer on release?
Well, going off the little, like, let's say trailer for the Switch 2, they showed Mario Kart on there, which everyone immediately clocked. So I think it's safe to assume this is going to launch with a new Mario Kart.
People were breaking down that they were new maps as well, and there was like 24 grid places for a potential online mode.
There's also a leak that this Mario might have pit stops.
Ooh.
Yeah, which would
Mario
go with
F1.
the bigger grid.
They just get rid of the car and it's just Mario F1.
Well, here's my thought. They do the Grand Prix that obviously are like just 3 laps. They could, as like the thing to make this one different, have 24 carts, 12 lap race, and you have to change tires or something. Or the ability to change tires if there's like maybe they had weather and maybe who knows, but I think Mario Kart's a safe bet of on release.
Yeah. I've not owned a Nintendo console since my DS died. I've never been a massive Nintendo gamer. I've always played Nintendo games because I've always had a friend cutting about who's a Nintendo gamer. So I've played the games via them. And I've got to be honest, as someone who's not a big Nintendo gamer, I find it so daunting getting into the Nintendo sphere because There is nothing even remotely close to like backwards compatible. All the retro hardware is owned by such die-hard fans that I feel like if I was to go on the internet and go, I'd like to play old Pokemon games, can someone help me? I feel like I'd get mobbed. Like, you got to buy this hardware. I'm just like, you know what? It's fine. I will build an emulation PC one day and just do it that way.
Do you know what they
I
got?
mean, and I would never emulate Nintendo. I'm joking.
Here's a link to emulate just all retro games. That's what people would do.
I feel like they're just a scary group of people. But maybe as I've been saying for a while, I've been looking for a handheld console. Maybe the Switch 2 grabs my money.
It needs some games. Switch is dry. You get the one.
That coming from a PlayStation fan is crazy.
PlayStation is not dry, and I'll die on that hill.
It was dry for 28 hours.
Yeah.
Xbox are releasing more games on your platform than you are this year.
Right, what have we been playing, boys? I know. Well, let me start. Apart from Marvel Rivals, what have you two been playing? Anything?
Yeah, no, I have actually. I've been playing more TCG Simulator, which is just. I never thought I'd enjoy sim game, but I do. It is what it is. I've been playing Neon White finally.
Hey.
I've downloaded a bunch of games to my Xbox that are like just games I want to play and review. I want to do more reviews of games. So start with all good intentions, as always. Got distracted by other things, but we made a start. Gone back to play some more Cyberpunk. The thought of a new PC and how pretty it's gonna look was just like, I should just go play it anyway because it's a great game. So I've been doing that again. And we will be playing Deadlock soon. It has been reinstalled. So we need to set up a day for the three of us to lose on one and be dog shit at Deadlock again.
Whoa. Speak for
hang
yourself.
on a minute. Yeah.
I'm gonna troll and tank so hard that you will buy osmosis.
To be fair, we haven't played it so long. We're probably all washed at the game.
Oh, the people who've been playing that game non-stop since we left are going to be phenomenal now. We're not going to know what planet we're on.
It's fine. There'll be builds to follow.
Yeah, I'm just going to try and I'm just going to survive 3 hours on it and then forget it ever happened.
What if you fall in love?
I said
Not
this, and he said, even if he falls in love, he's uninstalling. So
no, because you know what it is. It's like an abusive relationship, right?
Also,
I
League of
might
Legends.
enjoy them hours. I might enjoy hours. I thought this was, but it was fun for 20 hours before it all went to shit. I hate it. I'm willing for that trick again.
Fair.
Valid. I reckon I love it, and you're gonna have a great time. But we'll wait and see. Horry, what have you been playing apart from Marvel Rivals?
Marvel Rivals. I've basically only played Marvel Rivals. I've been grinding ranked and hit plat again. Been plat every season so far. I reckon I can get into diamond in the second half. But I mean, I've been playing Marvel Rivals. It's taken over, and I'm looking forward to Friday, as this will have come out. The update will already be out, but we get 2 new characters. The other half of the Fantastic Four, and I'm just excited to have a new tank to play.
For those who don't know, Horry is our tank carry.
There's
no one else.
Main, the true Vanguard player over here.
It's so funny because I feel like when we play games like that, we all like looking at Horry. He looks like what I envision a tank player to look like. A little bit taller than average, a little bit broader than average, and a big bushy beard.
The credentials for playing tank is you have to be over 6'2". So, like, unfortunately, all tank players are tall. It's just facts.
I never thought I'd end up being the group healer. But I never thought that'd be me, but someone's got to do it. It's a thankless job.
If someone else had been tank, I would have gone healer because that was actually my usual go-to. But I do.
Yeah, when we get 2 good tanks, like 2 people who insta-lock tank when we play, you're like jumping straight on Mantis. You're like, yeah, fine, no problem.
To be honest, it's got to a point now because I've played so much. I will just fill anything. I'm quite happy to play anything.
You're such a gamer.
My goal is to play enough of the game that I can play basically any character, but we'll see how that goes.
That's
What
like
have
me.
you been playing, Josh?
I'm gonna quickly finish on the Marvel Rivals note. Obviously, I basically main any DPS and then Lunar Snow. I feel like I need one more healer in my repertoire. Yeah, I don't, because that song is probably
just
on my
the
number
song.
one on the
That's the reason
Spotify
you're
playlist
playing
right
Lunar
now.
Snow.
I just when we played last night, it was my first game in a few weeks, and we played tanks, and it reminded me why I don't play tank. It's too slow for me. I can't hack it. I really can't hack it. But what have I been playing? I've been playing a mixture of games. Few single player ones. I platinumed Ratchet and Clank Going Commando. I'm currently working on a new platinum, which I won't disclose. Silent Hill 2, the PS5 remake, I have started and I've already pooed my pants. So that's good. And then in the background, still been playing Belotro. I've now actually got it on iOS and Steam, 2 different accounts, 2 separate playthroughs.
Man's min-maxing.
So I'm just too addicted to Belotro, to be honest. I said to myself I wouldn't start loads of games and then not finish them, but at the minute I've got Silent Hill, this platinum game I'm working on, Black Myth Wukong, Life is Strange. I've got about 4 or 5 games on the go, which I said I wouldn't do, but I'm trying to get through the backlog before some of these new games come out in March. Probably won't happen, but I'm enjoying what I am playing.
Just record every time you play a horror game. I just need you to record your entire playthrough or stream it, and just upload it unedited. Because I would watch the fuck out of that. I'm such a loser for horror game playthroughs because I just don't have the balls to play myself. Unfortunately, no one does that.
Yeah,
but there you go. That is a free YouTube channel idea for someone that will guarantee
someone out there,
one viewer.
Con will watch your horror gameplay. Right, topic of the pod. So last week or the week before, I've literally already forgotten when it was.
It was last week.
It was last week, wasn't it? We had the PlayStation State of Play, first one in a while. It had some big expectations coming into it, but nothing massive. Obviously, I'm going to call them out, some idiots thought there'd be things like GTA and Insomniac's next game and stuff like this. It's a State of Play. We've all come to grips with what a State of Play is. It's not a PlayStation showcase. It's not a summer showcase. And it's not a Game Awards. We've tempered our expectations on a State of Play from previous ones. But in my opinion, it was a pretty good one. In no order of what was shown, we had Housemarque's new game, which has a returnal sort of theme in which each level will be randomly generated, to my knowledge, called Saros. Rahul Kohli is the main protagonist, which looks very good. He kept that one on a download, the sneaky bastard. Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater got a date, 28th of August. And speaking of dates, we will come on to that at the end, because we've discussed it last month about dates and later this year with a certain big IP. So we'll come back to that one. Borderlands 4, we got another trailer, which no one cares about. We've seen so much Borderlands. We know what Borderlands looks like.
3. I'm very excited for Borderlands 4.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I'm excited for it, but we don't need any more gameplay. We know what that game looks like. But that has got a date, 23rd of September, which got a few oohs in the audience, myself included. There wasn't even an audience. The audience was myself in the Discord. We got a new trailer for Onimusha Way of the Sword, which looks fantastic, but we will be waiting until 2026. One of the few games that has been announced for next year, something to look forward to. One that I really like the look of, Tides of Annihilation, based in modern London, as far as we could see, an action-adventure single player game. No date or anything yet, to my best knowledge. It's sort of in the works, but you can wishlist it, I believe. One that Con enjoyed popping up as a Sony hater, Days Gone, finally, after years of it being rumoured, has got a date, 25th of April. Con, take it away.
When did the original game come out? 2017?
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head.
I'm pretty sure I have clothes older than this game and they've remastered it. Like,
And
Maybe
it's
it's time
funny
to
as well.
remaster some clips.
It's funny as
me
well
be
because it
clear.
got when PS5 came out, it got updated for like 60 FPS.
Uh-huh.
I'm pretty sure. And
It
now
came
it's
out in
getting remastered as well.
2019. This game is
6 years
6
old.
years old. Like, okay, here's the thing. Like, I saw some people talk about it, and like, I'm always going to laugh at Sony because they have developed a little bit of a reputation of just being remaster merchants. They have 5 games that they remaster, and it's funny. I don't believe in the console wars, despite how much Josh wants to bait you into thinking I do. But
Look at the Xbox sign in the background of each stream, by the way.
I find it really funny that they have this like exception of they don't have enough games and they just remaster games, and then they come out and they just go, Days Gone. And me, as a normal gamer, I'd be like, a sequel? That's interesting. And they're like, we're going to make it again. It's not an old game. And I know people, I saw some like industry insiders talking about it, and it's basically just a way of, it's essentially
Funding the next project.
But here's the thing, does that not just make it a cash grab?
Yeah.
And is
Yeah,
that not the
but people are
antithesis
gonna
of
buy
what
it.
gamers want?
It is a hard one because gamers with a brain know that to make a good game, and games in this day and age, how much money it costs to make a game. These developers need money, and if making a re-release, there are people asking for these remasters, not just like, oh, no one wants this.
Sony have created that market themselves by making their fans expect remasters. And don't get me wrong, it's good business. They have created a group of people who, instead of playing an older, like Sony, are in danger of killing retro gaming with this kind of mindset of just remaster it on the newest hardware. Whereas on the flip side of it, and this is not a console wars thing, it's just the other example, what Xbox do is they go back and they just make games work on newer hardware. So if you have Game Pass, you can download OG 360 games, boot them up on your new Xbox Series X. You load it up, you get the original 360 splash screen, which is nostalgic as fuck, and it basically hardware emulates it so you can play it as the game was made. And PlayStation goes the complete opposite. Like, no, that was an old game on an old console. You could never play that again unless you have the console. By the way, can you give us $60 to play the same game with? And at this point, this is a genuine concern. AI upscaled of the original game, not even like actually remastered properly. Because this is the problem. They are not doing high quality remasters a lot of the time.
Well, they've got to make their money back on Concord, so.
And
That
this
is true.
Games are expensive to make. Maybe don't greenlight a £200 million game that you shutter after 5 days.
Hey, we
Valid
never said
point.
Sony was smart.
We know that based on some of the films.
Oh, they are honking at releasing films. You're not wrong there. Anyone who does want the Days Gone remaster and owns a PS4 or PS5 version, £10, you get the upgrade. I will be there. One that I'm excited for, despite not having played the game, but have recently picked up the digital copy. Lies of P is getting the Overture DLC coming out this summer. Another game on my backlog that I've picked up the game for and will eventually get round to. I actually picked up the game the day after the DLC got announced because it got me quite hyped. WWE 2K25 shows off the island, and if either of you are familiar with EA Live, the way you can go into like a city, it's like Sims.
Yeah.
And like interact with each other, play like one-on-one basketball. It's essentially that, but WWE, you can go into a Nike store, get like a Nike tracksuit, and then go in a ring and like 1v1 someone. It does look quite jokes, but obviously WWE games are notoriously a bit mid.
So here's my issue with this, right? 2K for a long time, everyone was like, oh, I wish 2K would take over our sports game because like 17, 18, 90, 2K, NBA 2K was like the pinnacle of sports games. And now they've been given the opportunity to take over some of these games. They are literally just going, you know what we did with NBA where we just give them a city they can run around and be dickheads in? Let's just do that again, but increase the amount of microtransactions by 10%. And they're just rinsing and repeating. And fair fucks to them because they're making so much money doing it.
It's a weird one because it's so stupid and it is literally a copy and paste of NBA. But it does look quite jokes. And I feel like the WWE games each year are literally a copy and paste. It's like FIFA, just like updated roster, a couple of new bits. Whereas I feel like they're just trying to get something fresh in the game, aren't they? For people to actually give them a reason to buy 2K. Because a lot of people I know will just play the one from the year before because it come the end of its life cycle, always gets added to a Game Pass or a PS Plus type
Yeah.
thing where the game becomes free to play.
That's what I do with sports games now, because including Game Pass is EA
EA Play, yeah.
EA Play. When the last Madden or FIFA gets put on there, I'm like, right, I will now play them, and I'll play them until the next one gets added. I'm always a year behind on the cycle now, because fuck paying for a sports game in 2025 when a new one's going to be out in less than 12 months.
And they are literally copy and paste these days, like. But yeah, WWE looks quite jokes. A friend of mine might pick it up, and I'll probably wait for reviews before I go anywhere near it, to be completely honest. Another game that I look interested in, and a late release date for this year, October 2nd. I believe it's one of the latest dates we have for a confirmed game this year. It's led by supermassive sci-fi horror called Detective 8020. Looks pretty cool. The main protagonist, you two will recognize Lashana Lynch from the MCU, playing various characters. So one to keep an eye out. Again, it's a strange one where it's made by Supermassive. Their games can be so hit and miss with the sort of story narrative. So we'll have to wait and see. That could be really good. It could be really bad. I don't think there will be any middle ground.
Sounds about right for Sony.
Yeah. Oh, referee. Hell Is Us, one I'm looking forward to. Also got a date of September the 4th, 2025. So as you'll see by that, we have got a few dates for later on in the year. And I know last month we discussed that, and I think the last 3 months before that, are people too scared to put out a date for later this year, knowing that GTA 6 hasn't got a date? Well, evidently now we can see that might not be the case. So what do Rockstar do now? Is there inside information that it will be pushed to 2026, so people are getting a bit more comfortable putting a date out? Are they putting it out just knowing we need to publish the game, like we can't just keep waiting for Rockstar to do something? What are your thoughts?
Here's the thing.
Big bit of information, in my opinion, is Borderlands 4 having a release date, because that's Take-Two, which is the same publisher as Rockstar. So the publisher, like working with Borderlands to work out when that game's coming out, they'll have an idea when GTA 6 is coming out. Obviously, Kotaku published a report that claimed it was at the end of October, but now on their website it says the 31st of December. So no one's quite sure what's going on there. I think people have decided they can't risk waiting any longer.
Yep.
You'll notice, despite the fact that there are people releasing it in full, not many people are pushing past September. You've got one game in October. Everyone else is September. I think the industry knows the game is coming out end of November, and they're like, right, we'll get in for that full window. Our games will still have come out early enough that people might want to buy them for Christmas, but we're not going to compete directly with GTA. I think that's the play.
I think it's just as simple as Rockstar can do whatever the fuck they want. Like, they could say it's out tomorrow and they know people will play it. Like, they don't have to give any details because they know everyone is waiting and will be there. So they can pick and choose what they do. Other studios don't have that luxury right now because GTA 6 is on the horizon. The longer they wait, they'll be getting pressure off marketing to be like, look, we need to know when this is being published. Their publishers are going to be like, when are you wanting this published? Like, there's going to be a pressure point that they're now just having to give in and give a date. And yeah, I think there is a bit of play it safe. We go end of summer, predicting that GTA goes more for holiday season because that's like prime time. I've said this to God, if I'm Rockstar, just don't say anything. These studios are going to eventually have to announce dates. If I'm then GTA, I go, which month has the most game releases? All right, yo, everyone, we're releasing in this month, but don't give a date. Then you see if all of those game studios panic and start shifting their game around. Or like you pick a date, like, oh, COD's out on this date, right? We're gonna go with that date. See if they change their date. Like I just play the like a bit of bully mode and just be like, let's see how many studios can we mess around right now?
Bully's a different franchise. What I've already said that. I think I might have tweeted it the other day. I genuinely think GTA 6 is going to be a clusterfuck Not because it's going to be a bad game. I genuinely think it's going to be a phenomenal game. I think it's been so long since a GTA game. You've got entire people with social media accounts that were 2 when GTA 5 came out, who are now like the people who are the loudest on social media, who don't know what they're actually in for. And I've got a feeling to actually enjoy GTA 6, it's going to be a case of I'm closing Twitter for 2 weeks while I just play the game and I don't give a fuck. Because I think if you pay attention to social media at all during the launch of GTA 6, you're going to have, like the memes of like such and such a thing is great when you're bitching your ear telling you it sucks. I think that is going to be GTA 6.
I mean, you're going to get, there's just going to be people on, whether it's a good game or not, people are going to be like, oh, this is all wrong with it. And then there's going to be people like, oh my God, this is the greatest game ever. And it probably lands somewhere.
I can't wait
a
for
game
the
that
first
large is
claim
always just going to
quote.
have,
like, yeah.
it's going to have every controversy that you could think of related to it. And I'm just checking the dates now. One thing I will put an asterisk next to, Days Gone Remastered is the 25th of August, not the 25th of April. Little correction from earlier. But at the minute, according to GameSpot, and this was updated yesterday, there is nothing in June, nothing in July. 3 things in August, including a remaster. Hell is Us and Borderlands in September. Directive 8020 and Double Dragon Revive in October. So we've only got 2 games in September, 2 in October. Nothing confirmed for November or December as of yet. So for the last quarter of the year, we've got 4 games.
If they really want to fuck with the industry, early October's the time to do it, because that's when a lot of the big sports game yearly releases come out. COD and GTA will sweep them sales up. If you've got 70 quid in October to buy a game, are you buying FIFA, Madden, COD, or are you buying GTA fucking 6?
Well, the industry wants you to not be able to afford GTA 6 if you've only got 70 quid.
I would love it so much if Rockstar saw that and went, fuck you, 50 quid for the game. Reset the prices.
Right, I'm paying 200.
Gosh, stop saying that out loud. We're all going to pay whatever they fucking ask for, but they don't need to know that.
I'll be real. If GTA 6 comes out and it's 100 quid, I'm probably not buying it.
That's fun.
Like 100, like if you push a game to 100 quid as the base game, I'm like, oh, this is... You're pushing it.
About that to me is for GTA 6, I would fork that over. That's fine. But if other games want to go up to that level, I am very rarely ever going to be a day one gamer of another game again. I will be waiting for reviews, and unless that game comes out with stellar reviews and gameplay that I'm like, that looks phenomenal, it will be a miss. And I think that I genuinely think you've got these, and let's be honest, it's C-suite people going, oh, we hope GTA is £100 so we can charge £100. I'm like, motherfucker, you do not want GTA to be £100 because then when you try and charge £100, everyone's going to care a little bit more, and they're going to go, hold the fucking phone. That ain't
what they all said
game.
after Baldur's Gate, where they're like, "Oh, people shouldn't expect this level of quality in AAA games. This isn't going to be the new standard." Well,
yeah,
for 100 quid, we will be expecting that standard.
Yeah, I will absolutely become
100%.
like a massive Grinch about new games. I'm like, fuck you. I'm gonna go to like G2 keys and everything. I'm gonna use every little scam to save money. I will go back to buying discs second hand to make sure you don't get a penny from the version of the game I actually buy before I pay £100 for a fucking Ubisoft game.
I'll be going back to Marvel Rivals, which is free to play.
Yeah, and like when you have a game as fun as Marvel Rivals, I'm like, you know what, fuck you, because COD will be the first people to go up to £100 if GTA do it, and it's like £100 a year to play COD.
I think people that would definitely get backlash because those games are not worth 100 quid. But
they're not worth 70 quid.
I don't disagree at all. Do you think other companies publishing a game have the source to charge for 100 quid? Like, because GTA, like, just think of the property that is GTA. Like, I feel like they're the only people that could get away with it. I don't think anyone else could.
There is very few studios at the moment, or IPs, that I would say can get away with it. Most of them don't have... I would say there was a new Last of Us. I reckon that could get away with 100 quid because of everyone loves it.
Because it's a single player game.
I don't remaster it.
Think
not remaster,
with GTA.
I mean
with GTA having the online mode, which is such a huge part and arguably bigger than the story, I don't feel like a single player game like a Zelda I still think
I
like
reckon Elden
70,
Ring.
80 is the top.
I reckon Elden Ring or Baldur's Gate could.
It has to, put it this way. I don't think any game that is a yearly release can go up to £100 without there being insane
No.
backlash. But people will fold. They will. I think the big problem is that gives Game Pass, which is getting even better at acquiring games, the room to up their thing by £2 a month. And people are like, well, games have gone up to £100, so it's still better value to get Game Pass, and that still makes that more expensive. I think the reason GTA 6 is allowed to consider that is because they've been working on this game for 12 fucking years. They've invested a fuck ton into this game, and it's expected to probably end up being one of the greatest games ever made. So there's an argument that because of what people are expecting this game to be, yeah, it's worth that. However, if it's £100 and then launch day reviews aren't stellar, it goes bad for Rockstar very quickly.
Is it also fair though for them to charge £100 if, let's be real, as soon as that game's out and the multiplayer, there's going to be microtransactions for all the multiplayer stuff, which that's what GTA 5 has lived off. Like, we know that's
Those
raking
shark
money.
cards.
Yeah.
So like, you could argue they don't need to charge £100 a game because the GTA Online community has been funding GTA 6 the entire time. You're absolutely right.
I don't think any game has the credit really to be £100 nowadays.
I don't think we should have allowed games to get past £50, but we did.
It's one of them things though. You got. It's such a hard one because as the consumer, you want it as cheap as possible. But to make these games, they need money.
Okay,
yes,
but they in the exact same time frame, they went from £50 to £70 games, and every game is out the fucking wazoo with microtransactions on top of that. To actually enjoy, and I mean genuinely enjoy, a FIFA, a Call of Duty, a yearly release game now, without spending an ungodly amount of hours grinding just so you can have access to things, you're spending £100 a year anyway. Like, I genuinely think the average person, and don't get me wrong, I know there is no actual average when it comes to this because they have whales and stuff, but I imagine Call of Duty, FIFA, etc. bank on the average person buying the game at £70 and spending about £30 on microtransactions. So they're probably netting about £100 per player anyway. But the problem is, wanting that up front when all of these games are dog shit is the problem. And I completely agree that no, we shouldn't be allowing it, but this exact same conversation was being had when they went from 50 to 70. And once again, we had this conversation where it was like, oh yeah, the game's more expensive now. It's like, I don't give a fuck. We, for the last 2 years, have watched them fire everyone and work people harder. You don't get to do that. Up your game prices and then go record profits.
This, and the thing as well, let's be real.
I'll go Luigi Mangione on these motherfuckers. Watch me.
In the last 12 months, I would say you could probably look back and most of the most popular games were all indie games in the £30 range, which then just proves like, why are you worth charging £100? Like, all these AAA studios haven't really been producing AAA games.
Lotro, £12.
Yeah,
exactly.
And that is the only potential upside of £100 becoming the new standard for a AAA. Is more people are going to go fuck that noise, and indie games might get a bit more love. But indie games don't exist as well on consoles, which is where the majority of gamers are. Like, you have to be an incredibly successful independent game to have the funds to port your game to PlayStation and Xbox. And even then, Xbox will probably come in and just slap you in the face and go, we're going to put you on Game Pass.
They'll get paid a bag for that. And it's funny you say that because my next question was going to be scrap the... Obviously, there'll be ways to buy the game separately. Do you think Sony or Xbox drop a bag to try and get
Can't afford it.
GTA as a Game Pass or PS Plus option? Obviously, aside from that, with the ability to buy the game separately.
They cannot afford it.
Yeah, I think Rockstar would want too big. Like, it wouldn't be... They would, like, especially with Game Pass, they aren't making enough of Game Pass to know that that'll warrant... Like, the money coming in from subscriptions, they would severely lose out money on how many people would then, they'd sign up for Game Pass for GTA, but it would have to be such a spike to balance out the cost of what they've probably had to pay to get GTA.
GTA 5 did, what was it, like 1.5 billion in the first year when games were £50. Sony and Microsoft cannot afford the projection of what Rockstar expect GTA 5 to make, especially if that £100 rumour is true. They just can't afford it. It's as simple as that. And also, they'd have to pay so much for that, and it will be like a monthly thing. They might be able to afford it in a year's time. When Rockstar go, right, we're not selling many new units of this now. So to get more people to try it out, we'll let Xbox put it on Game Pass for 6 months for 50, 60, 70, 80, whatever fucking amount of million. And then that'll like get a bunch of people to play it for a few months and go, fuck, I need to have this game available all the time. But I don't think they can afford it. Maybe I'm being naive there.
No, I mean, I reckon they could maybe throw the bag. I actually don't know if Rockstar gets enough value out of it. Because as soon as it goes on Game Pass or PlayStation, like they are making another deal cut with those platforms when they know they can just sell it themselves and people are gonna buy it. And like you say, it's in a year maybe they would. I don't think they would, because the rumor is in 6 to 8 months is when they're gonna then release the PC port, which I think is so dumb that they're not doing that day one. But that's another topic. Like, so a year on, they're then going to have an influx of all the PC people finally getting their hands on it. Then you're going to get the start of the GTA 6 RP, because finally the PC stuff with no pixel and all that. So they're going to be fine, just chugging along on their own. I don't think they need any help.
Yeah, I completely agree.
And the last thing to add after that discussion regarding dates and prices, when do you think we get a date? How late do they leave it?
I think Summer Game Fest.
They're going to announce on September 4th on my birthday that GTA 6 is coming out, and I'm going to get it exclusively a day before anyone else, and I'm going to stream it for 24 hours.
It's going to be a shadow drop on Con's birthday.
Yeah. No, on my birthday, I'm going to get a call from your man at the top of Rockstar. He's going to be like, we want to debut GTA 6 on your stream. And I'm going to go, okay, let me just wake up and realise that I've shit myself, and then we'll have a conversation.
I think, realistically, for marketing purposes, you would release the next teaser trailer at Summer Game Fest, and you would say it's coming in, say, October. You don't put a hard date on it.
Question for you, though. Genuinely, I want your opinion on this. An announcement for the release date of GTA 6 is genuinely a bigger announcement than some entire video games.
Oh, 100%.
Do they just shadow? I know it sounds ridiculous. Do they just shadow drop the release date, or do they not spend 2 weeks doing a countdown to the release date announcement?
I think,
I know it's not a very Rockstar thing to do, but that's what the marketing team will want to do.
I think it makes more noise if they shadow drop it. Like, people will freak out more if we just got a trailer out of nowhere than if we were like, oh, there's this build up to a trailer.
Okay, but what if, like, on the Rockstar and the GTA accounts on X and Instagram, they go silent, and then every day at 1 o'clock or whatever, it's just 14, 13, 11, 12.
I think they'll be concerned now with, obviously they were forced to show the trailer last time. They didn't want to, / maybe weren't ready. Does putting a countdown out give
leakers chance to find it again?
A chance to dig before? It's a hard one. People are knobheads and have ruined. But they're like the Fabrizio Romano video game, just spoiling everything.
But if that's the case, wouldn't Summer Games Fest also concern them, because the amount of people who have to be involved in making that happen?
Yeah, but surely they could do it in a way of like
all internally.
It could, you could have it set up that like it is a last minute decision if that trailer is going to get shown or not. Like, it would be a pain for production, but like it's the sort of thing where they would accommodate like on the day, are we dropping this
Oh,
trailer?
one more thing.
Yeah.
It's a weird one because I know GTA is so big that people would literally pay other people to leak it. But I feel like Jeff Keighley hosted events, Game Awards, Summer Games Fest, etc., are typically better than other events at keeping surprises.
Mm.
But with a game of GTA stature, it's
We've
just
never
so
had a
hard.
release on the level of GTA 6. It's never happened in video game history. And I don't think it will again because there's like gaming is starting to split into subgenres. And we're like right at the precipice of gaming. You could say you're a gamer and everyone's like, right, well, that means anything. Like people can say they're into cars, but you're like, what is that like a muscle car or like a like an Asian style car and stuff like that? I think we're at the point where gaming is going to go that way. So this might be the last opportunity for the entire gaming universe to be excited about one fucking game.
Yeah.
Crazy. It's going to be nuts, whatever happens, when it
This
happens.
is our moon landing. That's what this game is. It's our moon landing. Our parents
This is
saw
the
people
video
walk on the
game
moon.
In 10
Barbenheimer.
years, they'll be telling us that it was faked.
Yeah, it was faked.
GTA
Our grandkids
6
are like,
doesn't
"You
exist."
didn't play GTA 6. It never existed."
That wasn't
I was
GTA
there.
6.
God
That
damn
was
it.
just GTA RP.
It never imagine the gaslighting from grandchildren. GTA never existed, Granddad. It did. I
That
lived
would
it.
go crazy. And to round out that crazy discussion, Rockstar, tease us. I beg you, do something.